Welcome to the newsletter. Worried about Russia setting up a trap in Kherson, Ukraine to strengthen its response. On Channel HT New for days, Russia and the pro-Russian government in Kherson have actively called for the evacuation of civilians from the war-torn territory. Kherson province, about the size of Belgium and serving as a gateway to the Crimean peninsula, came under Russian control shortly after Moscow launched a military campaign in Ukraine. Russia's control of a stretch of the western bank of the Dnipro is particularly important because it provides an opportunity for them to move further north and west. In recent weeks, however, Ukrainian forces have begun to retake dozens of villages and towns on the west bank of the Dnipro River, while also attacking bridges, ferries and pontoon bridges that cross the river, as well as storehouses of soldiers. Russia here. That is why, in the past 10 days, Russia and the government established by Moscow in Kherson have repeatedly called for tens of thousands of civilians living on the west bank of the Dnipro River to leave for Crimea as well as Russian territory. They announced that about 70,000 civilians had been voluntarily evacuated and that they would be given a certificate to have free housing anywhere in Russia. Russia also sent out signals that it was preparing to withdraw its troops from Kherson. The reason given was that it was reported that Ukraine was about to raid the Nova Kakhovka dam to flood the area. However, Kiev has denied the above information. According to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, Russia's evacuation of civilians is just a trap they created to create a sense of panic. Their elite army appeared. No one else remained. We saw it and didn't believe them, he told Corriere della Sera, an Italian newspaper on Tuesday. We are not going to fall into that trap, because it is so openly arranged to cause a stir in the media, a Ukrainian soldier told Al Jazeera. According to the soldier, Russia will not withdraw from such a strategic area. Intelligence data and satellite images show that, in recent days, Russia is building fortifications and defenses in the cities of Kherson and Nova Kakhovka, towns next to the dam and hydroelectric station. Ihor Romanenko, former deputy chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, commented to Al Jazeera, the evacuation of civilians from the west bank to the east bank of the Dnipro is just a psychological blow. In fact, they are intensifying force here. He said that the Russian side was ready for a possible counterattack. Ukraine's prudence after a plan to control Kiev failed. Moscow hoped to move east and south of Ukraine to isolate the country from the Black Sea and open the way to the pro-Russian separatist region of Transnistria. This Russian plan continues to face challenges recently when Ukraine regained control of much of Kharkov, in the northeastern part of the country. In recent days, heavy rain and muddy roads are slowing Ukraine's progress, Romanenko said. However, small groups of Ukraine continued to attack Russian positions in order to destroy command centers, depots and supply routes, and prevent Moscow's reinforcements. The timing of a decisive Ukrainian counterattack has yet to be determined. We have to identify the weakness of the Russian forces. We have to focus on stockpiling goods, strengthen our potential, and then make a final decision on whether to take stronger action, he said. Romanenko said. Meanwhile, pro-Russian media claim that Moscow recently deployed 300,000 troops and destroyed important Ukrainian infrastructure with cruise missiles, rockets and drones. This meant that Kiev had no choice but to rush to Kherson. Ukraine was forced to move quickly while the rear support force was still active, said Igor Strelkov, who was stationed by Russia in Donetsk. According to another analyst, in addition to the reason for the shortage of manpower, Ukraine's advance is slow because it advocates prudence and advances gradually in small groups. They can only attack after identifying significant gaps in Russia's defenses, Nikolai Mitrokhin, a Russia researcher at Germany's University of Bremen, told Al Jazeera. According to him, those holes appear due to the effectiveness of artillery or drones. So Ukraine has more chances to win even more. However, in fact, Russia promptly filled that gap with thousands of new soldiers even though they did not have thorough training and combat experience. That's why Ukraine continues to hope that Russia's tactics of intensifying attacks on the rear, command posts and destroying Russian manpower on the front lines with artillery or drones will gradually work. Said Mr. Mitrokhin. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel, share to support and update the latest videos from the HT News channel.